Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Cliff Hughes.
Did I sing a while ago?
No.
Oh.
I cannot sing.
No, I know that, so I just wanted to caution you not to try. All right, listeners, we're turning our attention now to the fact that there are 100 new JUTC buses on the island. And we're going to get an update on the electricity restoration efforts.
Yes. Good for you.
Energy Minister Daryl Vaz says there's now a crisis situation regarding the restoration of electricity to JPS customers who were impacted by the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Approximately 26,000 customers outside of St. Elizabeth remain without power. Minister Vaz says this week will be critical. He says he wants to see a framework that sees the worst affected areas of the country getting its electricity restored. The minister joins us now. Good evening, Minister.
Good afternoon, Cliff.
Good evening,
Ricardo. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Tell me, what's the very latest with the restoration efforts of JPS?
All right, so I got a report, or a detailed report, obviously, which was for today. As it stands now, including the hardest hit areas, we have 50, as of this morning, 55,400 JPS customers awaiting restoration. That's right across the island, including the hardest hit areas. The issue that I have is that there are too many pockets across Jamaica that were not heavily impacted by Beryl in terms of infrastructure damage that still don't have light. And when you get into a situation now where you're gone 10 days, 12 days, whatever it is, then obviously it becomes, as I said before, a crisis. I'm going to have a call with JPS tomorrow morning to get exactly where they are now from the 55,400. But the problem is that the complaints are coming in fast and furious in relation to persons who don't have electricity, and most of them, as a result, don't have any water. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing, based on the report, that only 52% of the NWC critical pumps are back up. Again, that's right across the country. Flow is at 49% restoration from 658 sites. They now have 324 backup. In terms of Digicel, who has 96 sites, they have a better. They have 63%. They have 60 sites that are backup. But say what I feel, Cliff and Ricardo, is that the frustration rightfully is building, and the fact of the matter is that although we are doing extremely well if you compare us to other weather events in the past and what other countries are doing, we are moving fast. But the bottom line is that we need to get these.
Go back to those JPS numbers, Minister. 55,500 JPS customers still without electricity. Mm-hmm. Yes. How many of those 55,400 are in the worst affected parish of St. Elizabeth that must be treated as a special case?
Let me just check back again. I think if I recall what I posted, the information I had up to yesterday was that there was restoration. Okay, so you want so let's go to
St. Elizabeth.
Clarendon. St. Elizabeth. Okay, I'm just looking through here. If I remember correctly.
Yes, I'm looking through the document. I'm not seeing St. Elizabeth actually. Clarendon 6,147.
No, I think St. Elizabeth is
by itself somewhere else. Okay.
From them. Right.
What I'm trying to establish.
I think it's 26,000 Cliff out of the 55,000.
Are in St. Elizabeth?
Already, yeah.
Okay.
That belt.
So you have another 29,000 outside of St. Elizabeth without power. Right. And what is the timeline are they giving you now that they're working with? Because if you take out St. Elizabeth,
The timeline for the badly affected areas, the rollout for that is latest August 5th.
Yes,
For
that's what I'm
full
seeing
restoration.
here, yes.
And for the areas outside of
You mean St. Elizabeth?
for St. Elizabeth and
And parts
St.
of
Elizabeth
Clarendon
mainly.
as well.
Yes, well, I mean, yeah, and especially the badly hit parts in Mitchelltown and Rocky Point, etc. So that's August 5th. But restoration, as you know, has started already. So it's a work in progress.
But let me ask you, Minister, Kingston and St. Andrew, I'm seeing where they have some communities here, they could get back light as far as July 30. Have they been able to explain why so long in the capital?
So that's what I want to get into tomorrow morning, because the bottom line is that they got this report came to me after midday today.
Okay.
And I've got a chance to go through it. I'm going to go through it tonight, but tomorrow morning they're going to have to answer me the questions exactly like what you're asking, because the fact of the matter is that, as you know, the areas that were not badly affected, there's many pockets across Jamaica that are still without electricity. Some of them just right off of the main roads, some of them right in the off of the townships, etc., which basically to me should be up by now.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I want to commend you on the communication around this. But as you well know, Minister, the frustration is building. Telling somebody in Kingston that they have to wait, or St. Andrew that they have to wait until July 30, really does seem inordinate.
Well, truth be told, as I said before, I have now labeled this as a crisis, and therefore I'm setting the foundation that if I don't get the proper answers and performance, then we're going to have to move to the next stage. No two ways about that.
And
no two ways about that.
And Minister, is what is at the core of the problem for JPS now? And I'm separating out here St. Elizabeth, because we know that was the worst hit parish. But outside of St. Elizabeth, yes, why is it proving such a challenge to return those areas like we just mentioned in the corporate area?
Yes, they have assured me up to Friday evening when I went to the control room and spent 2.5 hours there, where they showed me their plan in real time, that they have everything to do the job. And based on that, I'm going to hold them to that. They went as far as to tell me that they went outside of the regular contractors, subcontractors that they have. They got more, and they also communicated with the bauxite companies, who also have given them resources to assist, both in terms of specialized services and obviously human resources and equipment. So the thing is, I just want to assure the country that, especially those in the hard-hit area, that while we continue in Kingston and the other parishes that have been restored in term mainly, that we do know that these people are suffering immensely. Those in the hard-hit areas and those who do not have electricity, because it doesn't matter as to what the reason is for you not having electricity. If you don't have it,
you just don't have it.
For an extended period, as we are now going into this week, then it's a problem. It's a huge problem. It's a crisis for me.
Yeah. I see some of our YouTubers asking us about specific communities. The minister has posted a very extensive document that gives a very good breakdown, community by community, parish by parish.
I want to qualify that.
Go ahead.
Because the fact of the matter is that report, and I stated Friday that I wanted them to list every community and every district in every parish.
Yes.
When I reviewed my own Portland today, there was at least 25 to 30 districts that were not in the document.
Oh.
And therefore that causes me concern, either that they are not aware that they don't have light, or they have not provided me with a fulsome document.
Oh, because I was going to make this available to our listeners via our website. So you're saying...
Absolutely. And that's the exact reason why I asked them to do it, and that's why I don't want an incomplete document. So that this document has to be updated so that when it is put on the website or when it is on social media, people can look for their district, they can look for their road.
Oh, we lost the minister. Yeah, it does, Cliff, list community, the parishes, and then it goes into specific communities and it tells you what the status is, and it tells you what the proposed restoration dates are. So I think it would be good for listeners and our viewers to see this. But if the minister is saying that he believes this document to be incomplete, we should wait for him to get an update, and then we can post it. It's very detailed, and I think it would be helpful. We're trying to reconnect with the minister, but I think it would be helpful, especially for those who, they say they're not hearing anything. And of course, you get the calls in the days about, different communities and different roads and that kind of a thing. So it's specific in that kind of granular.
He's back. Minister?
Yes, sorry about that. No, what I was saying is that this document is not a fulsome document.
Okay.
And I want people who are affected to be able to look at this document wherever they find it, whichever website, whichever social media, and be able to pinpoint the area that they are living in and be able to see some kind of indication as it relates to restoration. So, for argument's sake, I have sent back my document to them, to asking them to add as it relates to Portland, and I've asked all MPs on both sides to do the same for me, because the bottom line is that they have to tell me that they have these communities on the radar and they have dates. If they don't, if it's not in the document, as far as I'm concerned, it's forgotten, and it's not on a program, which is not satisfactory to me.
All right, so we'll keep in touch with you to get the updated document so we can make it available to our listeners.
Yes, but in the meantime, this has enough information to at least allay some of the fears of persons and not having any information at all in relation to dates and timelines for restoration.
Minister, the buses. Your 100 buses have arrived. And I want to ask you, are they powered by LNG?
Yes, compressed natural gas.
Yes. And how do you source that to supply them?
Okay, so there's a plant, a LNG plant at Portmore, which came as part of the first 25 buses, the agreement with the first 25 buses, and basically it is being upgraded as we speak and should be finished within another week or so. To be able to fuel in a timely manner overnight the 125 CNG buses.
And what will this do for your bottom line at JUTC, given that them can't fuel anymore?
Right. So what it will do, obviously, is that's the first factor, which is obviously 100 less buses, so we're about of them stealing the diesel oil. These are smart buses, so they come with a lot of technology, which will allow the commuters to be able to interact with the buses, to know where the buses are, know the load factor, know everything that you can think of. And more importantly, also allow for JUTC to have better control and efficiency in relation to these buses. So we are going to do a big public education campaign in relation to what these buses can do. We're going to launch an app for these buses, and basically we are going to make sure that we do a complete reallocation of buses on all the routes to make sure that come September morning, persons are being delivered with a better service, shorter waiting time, and more comfort and a better experience on JUTC.
So is that the timeline for the rollout, September?
So September is back to school, as you know. So
yes.
we will probably start to roll these buses out end of the month, early first week of August, probably for independence, emancipation, and then obviously do our tweaking in terms of the distribution of the buses on all routes. But what I can say to you is that these 100 buses will reduce the misery index significantly, because people will be getting buses on a more timely manner. I think we'll get down to about 45 minutes with this. But as you know before, you are at 1.5, 2 hours, 2.5. Sometimes you don't even know when. That could be overnight.
What's the size of the fleet now?
This will take me to about high 300s of reliable buses.
So you were down to just about 200?
Yeah, 200 plus. 200 plus that were reliable. Should I put it that way?
Yeah.
But importantly is the aspect of the technology.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that. But what is the number of the fleet? What is the fleet size you need to be comfortable, so that the traveling public can be comfortable? But you're really going to get the job done very well.
350.
350.
400.
Oh, and with this 100 now, you're up to about 300.
Yeah, but I'm going to remember that the commitment from Minister Clark, who was at the war with me today, I have to take him because I have to make sure he sees how I spend his money, is that we're going to try and...
The taxpayers' money.
The taxpayers' money,
Yes.
correct,
Yeah.
absolutely. And remember, very importantly, these are the first buses that have come to Jamaica in decades on the taxpayers' money. No
Yes.
loans,
Yes.
nothing. Just this is straight giving back the taxpayers for their comfort and their benefit.
And that's why maintenance is going to be so critical. Does the JUTC have a detailed maintenance plan to make sure that 1 year from now, we don't hear to them mash up and then park and we're back at square one?
You know that anything Daryl does, he does it properly. So these buses will have a 3-year maintenance contract by the suppliers. As a matter of fact, 2 arrived today from China, and 2 more are arriving technicians, and they will be here for 6 months to train, technology transfer to the local mechanics at JUTC, but most importantly, the buses will have a service contract aside and apart from the warranty, which is 2 years, which means that you will get, the buses will be serviced properly so that you won't have a fast depreciation of the asset, which is what happens usually. You buy them, put them out there, and of course, there's no scheduled detailed servicing, and of course, in 2.2s, the buses look like 10-year-old buses. On top of which, I have a program for refurbishing buses, and we have already done 8 of the Hill route buses, and I just got approval from PPC for 16 more. So by the end of this year, I'll have 24 specialized buses on the Hill routes. And when I say Hill routes, I'm talking about Stony Hill, Temple Hall, Golden Spring, and I'm talking about Garden Town, Mavis Bank,
Rural St. Andrew.
East Rural and West Rural, which requires a specialized bus in size because of the conditions, the road conditions, and the areas that they're traveling. So I have a plan in relation to knowing that I can't get all the buses in the time that I need them as new buses. But as I said before I got cut off, we are going to order another 100 buses. We're going through the procurement now, and we pay the deposit before the end of the calendar year, and then pay for the balance of them in the new financial year. So I will have, God's willing, another 100 buses here by June of 2025.
Taking it back to the point you made about
technology and the services.
I want to go to technology, but the road conditions. There's been some criticisms that these buses are not properly suited to the Jamaican condition. Can you speak to that?
So let me speak to it very clearly. Before I became transport minister, which I had no idea I was going to be so appointed, I raised this issue in infrastructure, which is a subcommittee of cabinet.
Yes.
Indicating that we cannot continue to buy buses that are not tested and not spec'd for Jamaica conditions. And when I say that, I'm not speaking about the roads only. If a bus is supposed to hold 60 people and 20 standing, you know that you can rest assured that that bus is going up the hill with close to 100 people. So the bottom line is that under my watch and as a policy of this administration, no bus will be bought unless it is tested. We have tested the Golden Dragon, which is why we're able to order the 100, and we're going to go out to tender for the other 100 with buses that are tested. Once the bus is tested and it meets the criteria of JUTC, then it is spec'd, and the RFP is spec'd to make sure that it can deal with our conditions in Jamaica, which are unique.
Okay.
So these buses that just came are supposed to hold 95 between seated and standing, and they are spec'd with suspension to carry 120, which means that the overloading of these buses will not make them deteriorate as fast as they would if you went and bought a bus off of a shelf or off of a showroom.
Okay.
So you can look forward to the fact that A, the seats in these buses are not class seats, because in 2-2s they cut them up and do all sorts of things with them.
Mark them
They
up
are
and all that.
specialized
Yes.
seats, which will allow you to get in there and wash the bus in the evening with a power washer without having to worry about anything other than to just make sure that you wash it out and it dries for the morning.
You say
A
there's
lot of detail has gone into this. The specking, both in terms of suspension, chassis, engine, and of course interior and technology.
Okay.
You said they are smart buses. What services they come with for enhancing the commuter experience?
First of all, there are cameras in there that automatically last for 45 days. So if there's any incident on the bus, you can pick it up, and of course you can download that to store it for longer. You can watch the driver. As a matter of fact, they did a test on one of the buses that is currently here, and basically you can watch the driver and the driver's behavior throughout the entire day. You can watch the bus. You can know how many people are on the bus. You can know whether it's overloaded, whether it's come off the route, anything at all. And of course, most importantly, if there is an unforeseen accident or anything like that, then you have the camera front and back to pick up exactly what transpired. So you have a smart bus, as I said to Minister Clark this morning. The buses that we had before were not smart buses. I wouldn't call them dunce buses, but they definitely weren't smart. And the fact is that technology can be used to enhance so much in terms of customer satisfaction, but more importantly, efficiency, to help the JFTC to be able to monitor the buses and to make sure that we provide a good service. And that's what we're going to do with these 100 buses.
Are they smart enough to accommodate our fellow citizens with disabilities?
Yes.
Well, 10% of all buses that are ordered are for the disabled. And I went there today, and the first thing that I asked was them to show me, and I went on it, and basically the ramp comes down, they go in, you strap them in, you can hold 2 at one time, and the bottom line is that if there's nobody disabled on the bus, those seats can become available for ordinary commuters, but there are special seating and safety for disabled to access the bus, and of course to come off the bus and while they're traveling on the bus. So we're taking everything into consideration.
I was about to say, you thought of it all.
Well, the truth of the matter is, as I said before, it's not rocket science. It's just so common sense is not common, and I think I have a little more than normal of that, but maybe not as bright as Cliff and yourself otherwise.
And then your leadership at JUTC now to make sure they execute. So you've achieved the policy goal to make sure they execute. Are you confident that they'll be able to do that?
Put it this way, they will have to do it, and the fact of the matter is that there's going to be an audit in relation to JUTC to see how we can become more efficient and more lean in relation to that of the staffing and the management and the administration of JUTC. One can't go without the other. You can't put new buses in and spend billions of dollars of taxpayers' money and don't make sure that you do a comprehensive audit of what translates here now and how it can become more efficient from the top to the bottom.
Minister Vaz, if I can draw you into another area, the buses going to St. Thomas and Williams Field, any particular arrangement for those two parishes?
Put it this way, that is on the table, because as we expand our infrastructure, obviously we have to provide services for them. And with the 2 highways going there, it's a no-brainer in terms of access and timeline. I have one problem before I reach there, and that is Montego Bay Metro, which is a subsidiary of the ministry that's responsible for public transportation in Montego Bay. And unfortunately, that is down to maybe 2 or 3 buses. And that's a critical part of Jamaica that is expanding rapidly and requires people to be able to get to and from work and not necessarily have to use the taxis. So I'm on that and under both. And as a matter of fact, one of the JFTC board members went down there last week to the complete assessment for me. But yes, the answer is yes. So will it happen with these 100 buses? I can't tell you exactly, but definitely by the next 100 buses, that will be a part. The routes will be opened up to St. Thomas and obviously the whole route to Williamsville as well.
Minister, Tam on YouTube is asking you whether these buses will utilize cash or the smart card only.
It will start with both, but I've given instructions that we are to go full cashless in the shortest possible time, and we're going to roll out these buses with cashless and kind of incentivize the existing customers to use it. It's more efficient, it's faster, and of course it's safer for everybody. And of course the problem that we have is that for every bus that we send out there, that we have both cash and cashless, whatever cash comes into that bus, that is 2 pockets.
Yeah.
That it goes into.
Yeah,
a minimal amount
so cut out the teeth in.
The JUTC, and a maximum amount goes to
the 2 foot posts.
Wherever.
The 2 foot posts.
Absolutely. So between the theft of the diesel oil and going cashless, we'll be able to reduce the level of subsidy that we required for so many years, billions of dollars, and really get some efficiency going in JUTC.
Mr. Transport Minister, this one is from Full Disclose. Cliff, ask him if I could stop driving my car and take the buses.
I would definitely recommend that to take one of these new 100 buses. I don't know exactly where he's from, but that is absolutely the idea. That is absolutely to provide a service that people will feel confident to be able to park their car and know that there is a schedule for buses that he can rely on to know that if the bus is supposed to come at 12 and the next one at 12:45, that he can plan his business, he can go on his app, and he can know that the bus is going to be there and plan his business rather than going and standing up in half a tree bus center, transport center for hours, not knowing whether or not a bus is coming or when it's coming or how it's coming and if it's going to break down by the time it reaches to Cranston Spring Road. So that the answer to that is absolutely that's where we want to go, and of course it will take some time, but we're on the right track.
Tanya and Mario are asking about the rural school bus system. Where are we with that?
So have a presentation for Minister Clark that is now complete and ready. The issue with that obviously is the level of subsidy that we're going to have to provide. But as I said, the fact of the matter is that it is well worth it. In this case, it's a few $1 billion a year. So it's not going to be something that I can just roll out all at once. But definitely our pilot project will be launched in short order, and then we see how we can phase it in. But and I know from a rural constituency that what obtains for these youngsters to get to school and get home in the evening is not sustainable, and obviously it's not making them come out of school with any great marks based on the stress and the anxiety of what they have to go through and the time they have to wake up in the morning to get down, and then the taxis that take them are in a rush to get where they're going, and the safety issues and all of that. So many problems, but guess what? We're here to try to do our best to see how we can fix them one by one.
Minister, let me just pause to say the National Works Agency has just posted that the Walk Gorge is now impassable due to a motor vehicle accident. The police are on location, and it is hoped that the road will be reopened this evening. So please use the alternative route to avoid delays through the gorge. All right? Minister, you're a critical part of the government's Beryl recovery effort. And St. Elizabeth again, parts of Clarendon, Manchester, a lot of people have lost their roofs. Yes? has the government given thought to how they're going to direct some assistance to those people to put back the roof on their
We
houses?
spent hours on that today. The PM will address Parliament tomorrow, and I think he'll have enough to start announcing the government's response. Obviously, there's still work to be done, assessments to be done, but we are very, very aware of the different challenges and the complex challenges that individuals face in different communities for different circumstances. Yeah? And thankfully, we do have some insurance, as Minister Clark would have said, and of course, we have to make sure that we do what we can to address all the sectors that have been affected, and of course, as many as of the persons who have been affected, knowing well that no government will ever be able to satisfy all the demands.
But
so we have to make it equitable. We have to make it very transparent, and the bottom line is we have to be very smart in terms of what we do and the timelines that we do it in, because people are suffering as we speak.
So help is coming for people who have lost their roofs.
But that would have to be. I mean, obviously, that's one of the major issues of a hurricane in terms of the methodology, and of course, in terms of those who have lost houses completely. We have to find solutions for each case, and we have to, as I said before, we have to do it in a transparent, equitable manner. So I think PM will outline very clearly tomorrow the direction, and of course, I suspect that he will have to continue updating the nation almost on a weekly basis in terms of the response. My focus right now is to just get these 55,000 people back on so that they can get water, and the bottom line is that we can then start to work and collaborate together as Jamaicans as to how best to help our brothers and our sisters, for those of us who are more fortunate than them. So
Based on Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that for me, that's what I eat and sleep now. That's it. I mean, I just need to get back the telecos and get back the power so that the water can come back on and get the people back so that they can get back to some kind of normalcy. I mean, 7 days, 10 days, but once you go over that, I mean, you can't ask people to be rational and reasonable at that point.
Based on the number of questions I see coming in our YouTube about transport, we may have to organize a town hall where you can field some of these questions.
Sure, I'd love that. Actually, I mean, the truth of the matter, that would be great. That would be great. And
so we'll send the bill. We'll send the bill to the Transport Ministry.
We have a lot more to talk about in terms of the traffic tickets and the fact that I've made representation for the Ministry of Transport to get a percentage of the tickets that is now going to the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of National Security and the Consolidated Fund. The Ministry of Transport must get their piece of the pie to be able to do a proper public education campaign so we can stop the madness that's going on the roads.
Yeah.
So it's very diverse and complex. It's not, I mean, it's...
Yeah.
Tough.
Lots of questions.
Anyway, the Beryl overshadows everything else. 100 buses is all fine and well, but the truth of the matter is that I don't prefer those buses to come here without Beryl. So Beryl is a focus. Those buses have been... The shine has come off of that for me.
Minister, you are Minister of Transport, Energy, Telecoms, and what else? Science. That's a super ministry. Which of them gives you...
I don't know what I did to deserve, but whatever it is, it's tough. It's tough.
But you seem to be enjoying the transport portfolio even more so than the others.
It's challenging, and I think that it's where we can get some quick runs, quick results, and obviously give a break to the long-suffering commuters of the JFTC.
And transport is a business, you know.
Yeah, I mean from the
that's what you did your business in. Your private business.
So I kind of use that, but I have a lot of people that give me good advice as well.
Okay. And your portfolios are also critical to the political success of the administration.
Well, we have a year to see that, don't we?
A year? As long as a year?
Well, outside a year, so call it a year unless
But it could be shorter.
Unless the caller calls it earlier, but the fact of the matter is that plenty work to do. Plenty work.
And that's why you're trying to stay on top of all of it.
Have to. But anything I do 110%, or I don't do it at all. So
Okay.
if I'm not into it, then
Daryl Vaz. Daryl Vaz is the Minister of Science, Technology, Energy, and Transport. Wow. 4. Each of those could be a ministry on their own.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much,
I
Minister.
have a good PS and a good team.
Good. Take care. This is Nationwide at 5.